Hi, everyone. The illustration component of our content is important to balance with our photographs and other images. Users often prefer to use graphics or an illustration for an ad or any type of communication, as it sometimes conveys the concept more accurately than a photo might. Here are a variety of types of styles and categories of illustrations that are available at Metro. We have ad starters, which are backgrounds with headings already provided on it. We also have them in Spanish and, of course, backgrounds only with no headings on it at all for you to use. Silhouette graphics, tons of cartoons, thousands of headings for every event and holiday. Burst and banners that you can add your own type to, which provides endless usability. An extremely wide variety of backgrounds, not just vector, but photographs as well. Mascot artwork, as well as all sorts of icons. Also flat style graphics, which are very popular right now. And go to the next slide. Here's an example of a vector graphic replacement that you could do if you have Adobe Illustrator or another vector-based program. With a little bit of tweaking, you can create all sorts of different graphics by manipulating existing illustrations. This original graphic is for newspapers and education, which is a teacher holding a newspaper in front of her class. What if somebody liked this graphic but wanted a different teacher not holding a newspaper? I downloaded the file from MCC and in Adobe Illustrator, selected and deleted the teacher holding the newspaper. I went back on MCC and searched for a vector graphic of a teacher, and from the results, I chose this classroom graphic. I selected the teacher from it and extracted her, and went back into the original file and pasted the new teacher into the scene behind the students in the foreground. I enlarged her to make her the correct size, and this leaves plenty of room on the blackboard to add any additional information. Next slide. Here's another example of vector graphic replacement. We have an original graphic of a grandparents' day scene, two grandkids giving presents to their grandparents. What if someone liked this graphic but needed an adult giving his senior father a Father's Day present? I got the original file from MCC. I ungrouped it and deleted everything I didn't need from the graphic: the grandmother, the little boy, the little girl, and the background color. So I only had the grandfather holding the gift. I went back to MCC and found a graphic of a little girl giving her father a Father's Day present. I selected him, making sure to have selected all the pieces that make up the father, grouped him, and copied and pasted him into the original file. I moved him so his hand lined up with the bottom of the gift and resized him. But now his arm in the back looks chopped off and doesn't reach the present. So I selected the 2 points at the end of his arm and dragged it down so it looks like he's holding the gift from the other side. I even copied and pasted some wrinkles from his shirt onto that arm to finish off the look. And now you have another great graphic for Father's Day. Next slide. So this was a customer request. I use the same technique when we have a customer request. We recently had one come in where she needed a grill with bratwurst and hamburgers on it as a special promotion for meat markets. So I was able to fulfill her request by going onto MCC and gathering graphics that I could pull pieces from. I went into the man in the grill and took just the grill and the cheeseburgers. I selected the bratwurst from the pretzel and bratwurst graphic. I selected the plain burger from the hot dogs and burgers graphic, and I put them all together into the final graphic, duplicating the bratwurst and cheeseburgers and placing them around on the grill. I added some flames coming up here and there in the between the meats just to give them some dimension, and it worked out great for the customer.
The flames look great, Rob. That's
Thank
cool.
So sometimes we have requests that come in that require a little more work. This request was for an electrician who wanted Santa and his elves as electricians. They even sent an example as reference, which is always extremely helpful. They needed a Santa with his elves trying to decorate a tree, but getting all tangled in the lights. They also needed a pickup truck in the background so they could put the electrician's logo on the door. So I went to MCC and I found a bunch of images that I thought I could work. Pickup truck, a few different elves, Santa, a tree, a background. I extracted all of what I could use from each graphic and brought them into a single file. Then I proceeded to reshape the tree. I changed the color of the pickup truck and extended it a bit so there was more room for the customer to add their logo. I put the elves in the tree and drew the string of lights around the tree and around all the elves, changing their expressions and where their eyes are looking, things like that. and I added the background, footprints, tire tracks, all the little details that make the final image. And you're able to make requests like this at any time. It's included in your Metro subscription. Next slide. Every once in a while, we get a request for something that really takes off. In case in point, we had a request for Valentine's Day gnomes. Once these were up on MCC, another customer, Amanda Nelson from the Albert Lea Tribune of Boone Newspaper Group, contacted us. She asked us for these gnomes as accountants for tax time. I made them for her, and she used them for a multimedia, multi-sponsored sweepstakes. She then contacted us again, asking for different gnomes that matched her upcoming themes for these sweepstakes, and they've been a big hit. Amanda said the contests featuring these gnomes have generated $15,000 annually, and the concept has strengthened their community's engagement. Since the first contest, I've made all sorts of gnomes for her. Summer fun, football, back to school, voting, St. Patrick's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and more is yet to come. Sometimes an image can spark great ideas like this for campaigns and contests that can generate amazing revenue.
This is amazing, Rob. This is a great way to build a library of some really fun characters. We were fortunate enough to have just been in Minnesota, and we met her, and she absolutely loves this content.
That's great. Okay, next slide. Now we do the same sort of thing with photos as well. We got a request to add an American flag to a sunrise photo so it's transparent against the sky, fading out towards the bottom of the image. I opened the sunrise image and found a good American flag on MCC. I opened them both in Photoshop, resizing the American flag image to be the same width as the sunrise photo. Then I used the clone stamp tool at 100% opacity at first towards the top of the image, cloning the American flag image onto the sunrise photo. As I moved down, I kept reducing the opacity of the clone stamp tool so the American flag was more and more transparent towards the bottom. And that was it. It's fairly easy to do, and you can end up with very useful results. And now we will hear from our head copyright, Lorene, for some tips on developing and creating successful ads.